a couple of more e-learning things we want to touch on. One of them is video. And we're definitely seeing a lot more organizations do things with video, create on-demand, customized video as part of their e-learning strategies. So, TJ, tell us how you're using video at ETS.
Similar to what you're doing today, when we've got people in talking about things, and I've done a lot of work in the 14 years that I've been there to try and increase what was one of our key competencies, which is end-to-end ETS understanding. Because you've got somebody, you hired them, they're an IT person, they didn't know anything about testing, and so we wanted to make sure that they understood a lot more across the spectrum of, this starts with somebody in a state or a college somewhere wanting an assessment for some reason there, and that moves all the way through the design of that to making the assessment to being able to score it. And you've got operation things. You still have paper and pencil tests. You still have people who are have to shrink wrap tests. You've got to scan them when they come back in there. So I figured out who were the experts in all of these things here, and one by one over a number of years there, brought them in and interviewed them. And of course they said, well, I've got a PowerPoint deck. I'm not interested in your PowerPoint deck. I don't know about what you want there. It was an advantage for me. I'm not a testing professional. I came in as a consultant who was involved in organizational development, learning HR things. So I want to ask you the naive questions about this and get you to explain it. Then cut it so that it is in smaller snippets there so that you can then use it in different ways there. And that, for the most part, doesn't go stale, right? So the way in which you do the psychometrics to determine what the cut score is going to be for a test hasn't changed in 20 years. And so you can use these things over and over again, but you've got to get people engaged. I mean, this goes to a point that's been made up here, is that you've got to have people want to learn these things here. And so they have to see a connection between what it is that you're putting on video and their lives. And so we did some work maybe 4 or 5 years ago where we boiled it down to 6 competencies. And one of those competencies was end-to-end ETS understanding. Another competency was technical acumen, which is more within your own field there. And we were able to demonstrate that those people who had been successful, they were significantly different in their possession of the 6 competencies. The others, results orientation or customer insight with your customers, internal, external, your ability to relate to people and lead teams, and your learning agility. Can you learn there? Those are the things. So we were able to say, though, but if you don't have those first 2 of technical acumen and end-to-end ETS understanding, then you're not going to succeed. So if you're sitting back saying, well, how am I going to get those things, then you're going to be unsuccessful. If, on the other hand, you say, oh my gosh, you have thousands of hours of video that I can choose to watch in particular ways, that I can plug in with various guides that have been established within there, that makes a huge difference.
We're using video training. In fact, you guys are helping us with that, right? Okay, you guys are helping us put some video. We're rolling out performance reviews and assessment conversations. So we're creating videos showing, this is how the conversation should go, and so they could see it and hear it, and then we'll attach it to some principles. But I'm very fortunate. We have a unique situation in our department. I hired someone who is a cartoonist. But just waiting to sell his cartoons. And he actually sold one to Marvel, but it was a pilot program. So he is very creative. So I had said to Pete, Pete, could you create Muppets? And he said, I could do puppets. I know how to do that. And I said, I want you to recreate every personality in the department, but make us a puppet. And he did that. Now our training is not, when we do videos, it's the puppet talking. So when you turn it on, it's not Val, it's a puppet of Val. And she's teaching how to do a process of a deposit. And we do a video. So people are loving it because they call it the Investors Muppets. But, I mean, we have a class, and it's goofy, but people this is great stuff because it's us teaching us. I know everybody in the bank knows Pete did this. So we're doing a lot of videos that way. We like videos because it's a picture, you see it played out, it's short, it's sweet, but videos are inexpensive. We do a lot of them in-house. I bought a $1,500 video camera, and we just do it in-house. And it's kind of goofy, and the camera shakes, and who cares? Nobody cares. They just take the content, and they love it. We keep it, so we love the videos.
Don't you all want to see his puppet?
Yeah. Oh, I'm telling you.
It's right under here, actually.
So I brought the puppet home. And I had it. So my granddaughter's there. She was 2 years old at the time. So I said, Amelia, who's this? She goes, Grandpa. She knew right away that this guy is incredible when it comes to puppets. I mean, he can get it down. We're trying to think of all different ways to make it fun and interesting to learn. So
Yeah, I like what you said about it being homemade, and that's okay. BuzzFeed video is based on that. A lot of it looks like somebody just running around with a camera and making it like something's happening in real life versus this overly produced thing about like the history of our company. And it's much more real when it's a person just talking to you, and it's okay if the camera shakes. And sometimes we actually prefer when the camera shakes. We skew very heavily towards in real life like learning, but we use videos to reinforce and scale and complement what we do, but it never replaces what we do. We use YouTube for short snippets for a lot of the things I mentioned earlier. We use lynda.com. We have subscriptions for our users because we understand that learning doesn't all happen in a classroom. Learning is always happening. We use Treehouse for our tech team, and even beyond our tech team to learn how to code and use JavaScript, so they don't have to go to a class for that. We do have classes for that, but not everybody can always make the class, and some people, again, prefer the self-paced thing versus having to go to a class. And then for interviews also, we have a lot of great guest speakers come in, and we always try to snag them and gain insights from them. One example, Dr. Tannenbaum from Brown University does this amazing lecture for us on a quarterly basis, and I pull her aside and we interview her on a few key topics that we share with the group, and those are heavily viewed after the fact, especially for people in the outer markets who are always complaining about, hey, what about us? Yeah. That's how we help scale those things, but again, it should never replace it. I've worked at places that it replaces the learning component. It's just not as effective.